2022 was an eventful year for video games. Elden Ring came out and broke award records everywhere. It got like a bajillion awards across every game show. Horizon 2 came out and continued the Horizon trend of never catching a fucking break. Square had like 50 games good and bad. Yuji Naka got arrested. Blizzard continued being the worst. Splatoon broke Japanese sales records, then Pokemon broke those same sales records. Platinum Games had a roller coaster. The Sonic sweep was real. Yuji Naka got arrested again. Chris Pratt Mario is real. Comic Zone movie is real. Just me? Anyone? Alright, let's chill. And a lot of pretty good games about this year. Here are my favorites. Number 10, The Quarry. The newest entry in the cage-like genre. The Quarry is the newest game from Supermassive Games, the guys behind Until Dawn, and it's the same kind of horror camp that made Until Dawn a hit. The Quarry is one of those games where you can watch a playthrough and feasibly say, yeah, I beat the game. It's a narrative experience, but you press buttons that time, so it's better than every visual novel. The Quarry stars a bunch of teens played by 30-year-olds at a summer camp who, due to a string of convenient shenanigans, have to stay the night. They get told that under any circumstance, stay inside, don't go outside. So of course, they stay outside and don't go inside. And then BAM! There's werewolves, and you, the player, have the power to make them either live or die. Your choices matter. Sometimes. The main thing that makes the Quarry fun is the co-op. You can split the cast among a number of players, and that just adds to the enjoyment. I played with 3 of my buddies, and we each took 2 characters. It's so fun when you do a section and have the fate of your friend's characters in your hands. I may have gotten one of my friend's characters killed, but that's not my fault. The story isn't exactly the best. Oda didn't write this, but it's fun enough that you want to keep your characters alive. But not good enough that when they do die, it's not funny. I do wish the QTEs were harder though, and the game just kinda ends with little fanfare. It does nail that B-grade, not very scary horror movie vibe. That's a fun time with the boys and a healthy dose of irony. Are these games good? I don't know, but they're fucking funny and that's what matters. Number 9, Played Up. There weren't really a lot of tentpole indie games this year. The only one that really hit the masses was Cult of the Lamb, a roguelike game, and I am not white enough for this one. What the f do you mean these are indies? There were a good amount of tentpole indie games this year, but the only one I really played was Played Up. This is a silly little co-op cooking game that's very easy to pick up and understand. I mean, the game looks like this, it damn well better be simple. This game, best with 4 people. You run a restaurant of your choice. Pizzas, burgers, steaks, salad, a pretty good amount of variety. Then you each take a role and together you manage the store, from cooking, to serving customers, to cleaning. It's a very plain setup and sounds kinda boring when you explain it, but it's a game you gotta feel to really understand how fun it is. The easy comparison is Overcooked. That game is a lot more party gamey and crazy than Played Up, which is a lot more role based. If you're on cooking duty, you're doing that the whole time. If you're serving customers, that's your role the whole time. You'll be running around in circles and circles catching things that are on fire because someone kept the food in the pot for a little too long. It's also got a different progression system, being around 15 days with a singular layout, getting new perks and new ingredients along the way as it keeps getting harder and harder. Once you beat those 15 days, you can enter in endless mode and cook until you fail. I guess it's kinda like a roguelike, but the same way Papa's Pizzeria is like a roguelike, so not really at all. Basically, Played Up is like Overcooked, but with more defined roles and slightly less yelling fucks and shits at your friends, so who can say whether it's better or not? Number 8, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. 10 million copies in a week, glitches up and down and all around the ass. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, I played Violet, is the laughingstock that I can't stop playing. Despite being somewhat of a broken mess, the core game is some of the most fun I've had with a Pokemon game in a long while. The roster of Pokemons themselves are some of the best designs since the last generation. Okay, not very impressive, but it's still really good. I like all of the starters, which is the first time I've thought that since Gen 3. There's a lot of goofy dudes, cool dudes. Look at Tinkaton, that's one of the best Pokemon of all time. The open world gameplay loop works so well for Pokemon, and the 3 big story objectives keep me from feeling I'm doing the same thing over and over again. Doing the usual Pokemon fare of exploring, battling, and catching was so much more fun without the road being blocked because an NPC dropped their lunch. It's nowhere near perfect, there's a lot of little and big things that annoy me. The map sucks, there's no level scaling, the game crashed on me 5 times, but the core is good enough for a few of the issues to not matter all that much. The game keeps things somewhat varied, there's actual boss fights like in an RPG, and the endgame portion of Violet is one of, if not the best portions of a Pokemon game ever. The Paldea region and cast is among my favorites Arbor is just the best character, and there's so much life and personality in this region. I even like the stupid school. This has to be the new format from now on. Combine the best aspects of this and Legends Arceus, make the new game, functional, and a Master-Race Pokemon game could be possible. Also, add some voice acting. I'm not asking anymore, I'm demanding. Put me in the booth, I'll do it for ya. Number 7. Klonoa Fantasy Reverie Series. Bandai Namco has been doing really well with a lot of their franchises recently. Tekken 8 looks jaw-dropping, Pac-Man World came back, and the OG Pac-Man got more love with the museum. Digimon came out! Taiko no Tatsujin has been getting so many releases, Tails got its best-selling game and my favorite game in the franchise, and there was that Elden Ring game, I think people like that one. But forget all that! Klonoa's back, bitches! Klonoa 1 and 2 got banging remasters this year with the Klonoa Fantasy Reverie series. Both games are really fun 2D platformers. Klonoa 2 especially is an awesome game. It's a lot of fun, it's got a great palette, especially with the remaster making the games look better than ever. Klonoa 2 especially keeps things super fresh, with levels being generally longer with more memorable set pieces. It's way more creative, there's always a new fun surprise around the corner. The story's also a lot more fun than the first. It's one of those games with a marked improvement over the first one in every single way. Gamers, please rise and give your best wahoo! But beat on! Aren't these remasters? Do they count? Yes. Play Klonoa. Buy Klonoa. You don't want him to go away again, do you? Of course not. The Klonoa Sleep is alive and well. Support the Klonoa Sleep. Let the boy live. Buy Klonoa Fantasy Reverie Series available now on Nintendo Switch and other platforms. The low price of whatever it costs at this current moment as I'm speaking these words. Go buy him right now. Klonoa. Support Klonoa. Let him live. Let the boy come back to relevancy, please! Number 6.
The King of Fighters 15.
2022 wasn't the biggest year for fighting games. DNF Duel I was done with after the beta. Multiverses was okay. I didn't stick with it much after LeBron James came out. What a weird string of words that is. But KOF 15 was that good traditional 2D fighter greatness. KOF 15 is just so much fun. It took what worked in 14 and made just about everything better. Having EX moves available whenever opens up so many combo opportunities. The little pause max mode gives you makes the mechanic way more fun and easy to use than in 14. Shadow Strike makes me feel like I have the biggest brain when I landed. The game just feels so satisfying to play. The combos, the hits, the impact, everything is there and accounted for. But good mechanics means nothing if the characters aren't fun to play with. And this game provided 40 characters at launch, twice what most modern fighting games launched with. They could have been wilder with some picks. I would like to see a couple of weirdos come back. I just really want Alice back. But the quality and the quantity was there. It's a shame I don't love the 2 new characters, and it's a shame there's only 2 brand new characters, but their design and personalities are so awesome I like them anyway. Doesn't matter, I still got Joe, Chris, Terry, Shune, Vanessa, Ralph, Kyo, King. So many of these characters are kick-ass. And they just keep adding more. A year in, and the roster has shot past 50. Garo, Southtown, Nobody's Perfect, Samurai Showdown, and they're still going. The KOF train isn't ending anytime soon. Shingo, Kim, please! The game also implements a rollback netcode, and it has some of the better online play I've experienced in a fighting game. Granted, I came from the trenches. It's not as good as Guilty Gear Strive, but it's still really solid. I wish there was a bit more single player content besides just playing the arcade mode over and over again, and the matchmaking, let's hope the crossplay update makes it better. Game still rocks! Number 5. Splatoon 3. Splatoon, I've decided, one of Nintendo's best franchises. Splatoon 3 became the biggest console launch ever in Japan for 2 months, and for damn good reason. On the surface, it's not a massive difference from the second game, but it feels like every aspect from 2 got mildly to moderately improved upon to where it feels worth its weight as a sequel. I wish there was maybe 1 or 2 new multiplayer modes, but all the modes there are the most fun they've been. Little changes like the new movement options like the Squid Surge and the Squid Roll lead to the Squid Kid feeling more mobile than ever. The game might have the best special weapons in the series yet. Aerospray has the Reef Slider, and I never used anything else ever. Just like with the first 2 games, that 1 more match factor has led to me playing 50 more matches than I intend to. Like, I could stop now, but just 1 more ranked series match. What's that? 30 minutes in, I lost 100 ranked points? Well, I just gotta get them back, don't I? Just 1 more ranked series match. Oh, I won this one. I'm about to rank up. Just 1 on more. The campaign itself is worth the price of admission. It's about on the level of Octo expansion, probably not better, but the fact I'm even comparing it to one of the best things Nintendo's ever put out is one hell of a testament to its quality. Some levels can go to hell, but for the most part, it's super fun and with a ton of varied level objectives. Splatoon 3's got a great campaign, banging multiplayer, I didn't even mention Celeron, which is as good as ever. That signature Splatoon style that might be stronger than ever. I even love the new Splatfest, with their weird and balanced tri-colored turf wars, and I just love supporting the best new idol in the series, Mega Man. This game would be a 10 out of 10 if it worked. Number 4, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. TMNT makes me so happy! Beat 'em ups are such an old school genre, and every time a new one comes up, I just get a little perked up. I never grew up with the 80s cartoon, I grew up with the 2003 one and the 2012 one as well, but the intro alone just makes me so happy. Like look, it's the Turtles and Splinter and April and they're all there having fun doing cool action. With an intro like this, the game just has to be good. And it f***s, dude. Shredder's Revenge is the kind of game that clicks in a second. The first level starts, and I start whacking enemies and I tear up because it just feels so damn good. Shredder's Revenge is built off of the bones of the older TMNT beat-em-ups, the old arcade games, Turtles in Time. The devs really knew their roots and used it to build one of the best beat-em-ups I've played since River City Girls. The gameplay and the combat is so tight and responsive, each hit has a nice impact to it, and juggling enemies in the air is always so much fun to do. The beat-em-up gameplay just feels right and every character is so fun to play. But, Monkey Guy for life. Each level throws so many creative segments and fun enemies and bosses to fight, and everything just pops with the beautiful sprite art on display. It's even got 6-player multiplayer, which is the kind of arcadey nonsense board games need to have. There's so much good Turtles fan service too. I love when you can tell the makers of the thing like the thing, and there's so much clear love and passion for the Turtles franchise in here. Shredder's Revenge also has the best OST of the year. T. Lopes does it again with another perfect score. This might be his best soundtrack yet. Yeah, maybe better than Mania. Maybe not. I don't know. There's a hit Disney XD sitcom, Bear Kings. Number 3, Sonic Frontiers. The Sonic Suite never ends, baby! After one of the wildest bad to good marketing rides ever, Frontiers came out and stuck the landing. It was easily my most anticipated game of the year, and I had such a blast with it. The brand new open zone was a bold vision for Sonic, and after playing it, I get it. I see the vision. A game like this lives and dies based on how Sonic himself feels to control, and they nailed the feel. He feels appropriately fast, while also being one of the most controllable versions of the character ever, especially for a boost game. The simple act of moving Sonic around the environment stayed fun throughout every island, and you can't go a minute without there being a rail to grind on lethal collectible, or some little platforming challenge to blast process your way through. The gameplay of completing the challenges, unlocking more of the island, running from point A to B, doing a cyberspace level, fighting enemies and bosses, it's one of the most addicting gameplay loops I've had all year. Just when I think I'm done for now, oh, what's over there? The game succeeded at that, ooh, piece of candy feeling. The combat too is also surprisingly good, especially for a series not known for focusing on combat. Sonic's combat skills feels appropriate for the character. Each move has him moving around and staying mobile, like a Sonic should be. The little mini-bosses offer a nice challenge and use Sonic's different moves which you can get in a skill tree, striking a nice balance of not being too annoying like the average AAA skill tree, but not feeling like a starving child of a skill tree. It's very agreeable. The story is also really good too. Getting Ian Flynn, the comic writer, on the team was the best decision they could have ever made. These feel like some of the best incarnations of these characters probably ever. Amy continues her shift to good character that started with Boom. Knuckles and Sonic have this great dynamic and banter. I love that they address Tails' inconsistent character writing and don't just throw out the hated Forces cutscene, but instead work it into his further development. Sage is the best character these games have introduced in a long while. The way her relationship with Eggman unfolds throughout the game, really good stuff all around. One of my favorite things in Frontiers is how everything comes together. Ian references everything. Station Square, Babylon Rogues, the Dompa Kingdom from Team Sonic Racing, Dark Gaia, Deadly Six, Styx, and Tangle. The comics are canon, IDW is canon, Styx is free from the shackles of the Boomiverse, hopefully. This game makes me feel validated as an obsessive Sonic nerd. And the Titan bosses. These are the coolest thing in any 2022 video game. I won't debate this, I'm just right. They're some of the most fun supersonic bosses in the whole franchise. They feel appropriately epic and every single one feels like a final boss somehow. And the music in these segments Some of the best vocal themes in the Sonic series. The music in general is one of the best Sonic OSTs. It's such a good mix. You have the nice orchestral pieces for the open zones. You have the bump in cyberspace tracks, of which almost every single one is an absolute banger. You have the rockin' metalcore tracks of the Titan bosses. There's so many good vocal themes throughout the game. I'm here, undefeatable, one-way dream. Even the fishing and the random one-off Coco missions have banger tracks. Otani was cooking with this soundtrack. Sonic Frontiers is a fantastic foundation for the future of the franchise, in terms of both the story and the gameplay. I have my little bones to pick here and there, but the fun factor seeps through so that none of the little qualms make me love this game any less. It feels so good to have another great Sonic game. 2022 really was the Sonic sweep. Number 2, Live Alive. I don't know if it's Live Alive, Live Alive, or Live Alive, but I'm sticking with Live Alive. Quarry put out a million games this year, and this is by far the best one. I didn't play Crisis Core yet. Live Alive was a SNES RPG from Square. A more unique game where instead of one big RPG adventure, there's a bunch of little mini adventures, all set in different time periods with different protagonists. The only thing shared between all of them is the grid-based battle system. Despite being a game from decades ago technically, it somehow feels so fresh even today. Each of the stories offers up something unique. One is structured like a fighting game arcade ladder, there's a pseudo-horror chapter that has no battling whatsoever, and there's even one set in prehistoric times where there's no dialogue at all, just grunts and caveman monkey noises, and a fucking wild ending. Each story is so varied and managed to be a perfect length. Not long enough to get tiring, but not short enough that I feel robbed of great content. And the actual stories to these short stories are really fun and complement the gameplay. The Ancient China chapter has you train 3 characters. Depending on who you spend the most time training, the story unfolds in different ways. Then the Edo Japan chapter has different endings depending on whether you kill no enemies, any amount of enemies, or all of the enemies. Wait, and the universal boss theme is called Megalomania? Oh! Toby Fox has great taste! The game never came to the West, and I don't know why they decided to make the biggest splash ever with a whole hog remake, but it does make a great first impression for my virgin Western eyes. Everything feels timeless somehow with the whole story setup, to the unique, really fun grid-based positional battle system, the multiple endings from some path. The game at its core has not really aged today, or maybe the remake fixed the parts that weren't clean in the original. If this game came to the West back in the day though, it'd be up there with the SNES GOATs like Final Fantasy VI, Super Mario RPG, Secret of Mana, and Chrono Trigger. But they went above and beyond with the godlike HD 2D visuals, voice acting, and the remastered Yoko Shimomura music that's so good you have to play the game to believe it, because Square made sure that for the love of f*** it's not on YouTube. My favorites were Near Future because I'm a shonen head, Prehistory because I'm a goofy head, and Present Day because I'm a fighting game head. HD2D is just the best thing Square's pioneered in this gaming generation. Every game with this style looks like one of the best games ever made. They put out 3 of the best looking games ever made, and continue making more of the best looking games ever made. Can all their old games be remade in this style? Chrono Trigger, Dragon Quest 4, 5, 6, Secret of Mana, Super Mario RPG. Just keep making these forever please. If HD2D was a woman, I'd be interested in sex. Number 1, the game of the year, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Kirby had a flawless transition to 3D. This is one of those Nintendo franchises you can always count on for quality. He's been knocking it out of the park with 2D games for his whole eternity, and the formula Return to Dreamland started out worked fantastically. Though after Star Allies, a new direction was needed. But damn, Hal, you didn't need to make the best game ever made. Kirby and the Forgotten Land took the iconic pink puffball into the 3rd dimension for the first time. Get serious. And HAL did so like they've been making 3D games for a century. The levels aren't open like a sandbox game. This isn't Mario Odyssey or Sonic Frontiers. It's more structured like a 3D World or Crash Bandicoot, basically being a conversion from 2D Kirby design into the Z-axis. There's less copy abilities and movesets are very limited, but they managed to both convert the select few until 3D perfectly, while also giving them a lot of utilities with both bosses and levels themselves. The level design and theming is super good as well. The layouts are so finely crafted so that each time they continue being fun to run through. The design, the theming, the set pieces, the use of the new mouthful mode, which is one of the best gimmicks and easily the funniest gimmick. I love every single Kirby form. They're all just so good in their own way. I love him. I love this guy. This is my guy right there. I love Kirby. I wish Player 2 could do something more than just sit on Kirby while he's mouthful mode though. I like that Bandana D's here, continuing being Kirby's best friend, but I wish he got a bit more unique stuff to do. Waddle Dee Town is a super cute hub too. I love how it adds incentive to get all the collectibles as well. And the whole game's theming and being this mysterious post-apocalyptic little area, it's super cool. At least a more unique take on more traditional level theming. Like there's the grassland, sure, but then you got an abandoned mall and all these buildings everywhere. The Iceland has these destroyed clock towers and abandoned train stations, and they're super cool areas all around. Wonderia is just the coolest looking one though. I need this in the next Smash Bros. Or in the next Mario Kart game. Ah, you Mario Kart, I said. The boss fights are some of the better ones in the series too. Usually in Kirby, you just hit the button with the big power until the guys go down. And you can still pretty much do that here. When you go for the no-hit challenges or the arena, it's a lot more fun to use the dodge roll, get the thick slowdown, and go crazy on them. Between Kirby and Sonic, I'm convinced every game needs to have this. This game is just oozing with that good Kirby charm too. Everything's so colorful, everything's so charming, everything's so awesome, everything is just so good in Kirby and the Forgotten Land. This is one of my favorite entries in the series, and shot up to being one of my favorite games on the Nintendo Switch. I love just about everything in this video game. Every level is a ton of fun. The powers rule. I love the drill Kirby and the blah blah gun Kirby. The aesthetic is super creative. Mouthful mode is the funniest thing Kirby's ever done, and the music is front to back, non-stop, straight up, gas, 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 bangers. Northern Frost Street is one of the most beautiful pieces of music in the franchise.